It's a pretty encouraging story here. 3 dramatic stories, tales of sharing about local patients who had little hope with their conditions until they tried something new.
Ranging from a rare form of arthritis that attacks the entire body to multiple sclerosis, they're on the road to recovery after undergoing a treatment using their very own stem cells. Tucker, Bo, Sarah, and Debbie may be going through different stages in life, but they sure have one thing in common. They believe CellTex stem cells enhanced and even saved their lives.
You too. Thank you.
They explain their bond is unbreakable, frail, and often bedbound. That's how they describe themselves before they underwent a treatment using their own stem cells. Dr. Stanley Jones knows how they feel. The prominent orthopedic surgeon didn't want to retire when he was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis 6 years ago.
And I was so sick with conventional medication that I wanted just to give up and quit. And I sought stem cell therapy in Asia prior to anybody else looking at it. So I was the first American doctor to go to Korea and Japan to get stem cell therapy.
Dr. Jones says everyone there had improved so much, he tried it. He wanted patients here to get a similar relief, and that's how he helped bring CellTex stem cells to Houston. 7-year-old Tucker Bo was the youngest patient to undergo the treatment.
When we did it, the next day I felt better. Now that you could play, now that you can walk, now you can actually go to places.
Tucker Bo has a condition called systemic idiopathic juvenile arthritis. It not only attacks his joints and bones, but his entire body, including his digestive system. Steroids, injections, and chemotherapy didn't help enough. Doctors said he was no longer thriving.
I hadn't eaten since 4.
A feeding tube helped keep him alive, but after stem cell therapy, he eats everything he wants.
I gained 16 pounds and 4 inches.
Wow, that is a lot. No more pain either. He's even playing lacrosse now. 24-year-old Sarah Hughes has gained 30 healthy pounds the past year since her stem cell treatment. Sarah has the same condition as Tucker Bo. She has spent most of her life flat on her back to help lower symptoms. Most of that time fighting for her life in a hospital. She says she used to be a shell of a human being, lacking energy and life.
I got my life back, and I would just say that I never fully had that much of a life. And now I feel like I'm just kind of starting to live my life.
So you're getting a life.
I'm getting a life, yes.
Sarah's doctors warned them she probably wouldn't live past her early 20s.
I explode to antibodies, so I just keep, as I get older, my disease would progress more and more, and so I would get new, strange manifestations of my disease.
She was at risk of anaphylactic shock, suffered debilitating spinal cord leaks, and relied on a feeding tube since she was 5. The list goes on and on.
These are an example of her maintenance meds that she takes every day. All sorts of different drugs, from painkillers. She's on non-stop antibiotics, different drugs for cardiac conditions, digestive conditions, as well as her arthritis, sore joints, sore bones, etc. So she's on, as they said, 23 different maintenance drugs. We keep a list.
When Sarah and her mom saw that Tucker Bo began to thrive, they decided Sarah should try it as well.
I knew that I wasn't going to be having a life, maybe not a very long life at all.
That's when Sarah had fat cells extracted here in Houston at CellTex.
What we're doing is making stem cells in high quantities. We think that because a person has 1 trillion stem cells in their own body, and those stem cells oftentimes become senescent or lazy, so to speak, we need to stimulate those stem cells to become more active. And that's called senolytics. And that means they're going to stimulate mitosis of other cells and make every other body part better.
Growing new cells happens in this CellTex lab in Houston. But right now, patients have to travel out of the country to inject the new stem cells back into their body. This is Sarah when she arrived in Cancun for her procedure. Then, only a few months later, after her own stem cell treatment, this is a much healthier Sarah. She says she felt much more energetic the day after her procedure.
I was very hungry. I hadn't felt hungry since I was like 5 years old.
Sarah went from being bedbound to walking 3 miles a day. Her mentor, Debbie Bertrand, says she was able to retire her own wheelchair because of the treatment.
I had energy, I had strength, I could go to the gym again.
After being diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, Debbie was terribly concerned about her quality of life. Now that she can easily get around using a walker, she says the treatment was well worth the expense.
It's one of those things that your health is, if you don't have your health, there's a lot of things that you don't have.
3 patients, 3 dramatic outcomes.
Do you feel like a kid again, not a patient? That's a good thing, I can tell by the look on your face, right?
Yes.
And I'm just very grateful for my doctors. I'm very grateful for the life I have. I'm grateful and thankful for every day I have.
As a medical reporter, I'm grateful they shared their story so that they can hopefully help someone else. They all hope it will soon be available to everyone through health insurance. They feel like it is working toward that, but right now it is an out-of-pocket fee that costs tens of thousands of dollars. Certainly, you just heard they said, well, it's worth it. They had no life and no chance
What an amazing
before.
turnaround for that young lady in particular.
It is remarkable. I certainly talked to the doctor about any problems that might happen. He says it's just typical of injecting a needle. What would that be? You know, you would have a risk of infection, but it's very low. They haven't had problems with that, but remarkable stories coming from them.
Amazing, inspiring as well. Thank you.